Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm Gav, that's Kev. Burnley nil, Liverpool 2 from Turf Moor earlier on. We'll let you know. We're keeping an eye on the United game, 2-0 to Villa, currently at Old Trafford. Kev, I'm in Florence Cinema Pongo's Pagola. I've been fucked out of the house tonight. And it's lovely out here. It's not too cold. You're in your normal abode.
Yeah, I'm back into my humble cottage downstairs in the kitchen.
Yeah, you're back into your normal spot. Because you were thrown up to the bedroom for a while,
I'm
weren't you?
showing up into my daughter, my youngest bedroom, but now that she's home from college for Christmas, it's like, yeah, that just get your stuff and get out.
Okay.
And the
Couple of
only
comments.
reason I was kicked out of the kitchen, go on, sorry.
No, come on. The only reason you were kicked out of the kitchen.
No, I would say the only reason I was kicked out of the kitchen was because my missus wanted the Christmas table, the table for the Christmas dinner and what have you.
Oh,
So as
okay.
soon as that's done and dusted, everything starts to return back to a bit of normality.
We're back to normal. Good stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Is it me or is Gav volumes low? Oh, I do this every week. Hold on a second. Jesus. Let me see. Is that a bit better? I'm trying to make it as best I can. But anyway, I'm doing my best. If I'm a bit low, just listen a bit harder. I don't know. Kev,
Turn the volume up on the telly.
turn the volume up. Let me see. So Chris is in, Thor is in, Red Steve is in, Tom Boland, David. Loads of stuff in there. Anyway, someone's loving. Sass Copboy says your volume is quite low. Gav volume is sound, says Mr. Bolognese. People just need to turn it up. On the soundbar here, I sound absolutely perfect. So I don't know, like, what I have to do for you. Anyway, let's get into it. Kev, I do this most Sunday nights, and I just look for an immediate reaction. It's a win. It's fairly dominating. The refereeing is infuriating yet again. But Liverpool win to go back to the top of the table, and like I said, get to the 1st of January, another 3 points against Newcastle, and I think it's been a fairly good December/festive period for Liverpool.
It's been very good. I mean, 4 games in 10 days, it does take it out of you and it does test the squad. And you could see by the lineups today that the squad was severely tested.
Mm.
And the fact that we turned in another dominant performance should have been a lot more comfortable than what it was. But
Yeah.
when you actually look back at the highlights of it, I mean, we were very good in the first half. Didn't finish the chances that we had. They had one period in the game that lasted about 3 minutes, and then a normal order was resumed. People, you get a bit nervous because you look at the scoreline. It was 1-0 at the time, and you get a bit nervous because you know the what if scenario. Anything can happen at 1-0. But in all fairness, Allison didn't have a save to make.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it, and that's not the first time this. Even in the last 3-4 games, he's had very little to do in most of the games that we've been in. So that's a good solid base to be building from. We're at the halfway point of the season now, and you're what top of the table, 42 points, halfway. You'd have snapped your hand off at the start of the season for that.
Yeah.
And you know that this side hasn't kicked into gear in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
And there's a few senior players in that squad that there's a lot more to come from them. So all bodes well for me.
Yeah, let's look at the starting lineup. Alisson in goal. He plays Trent, Gomez. He plays Van Dijk, Quanta. He goes with Endo, Elliot, Gravenberch, Nunez, Gakpo, Salah. Now, a few people I noticed before the game, they were like, Jesus, Kanate, he had a brilliant game against Arsenal. Gravenberch wasn't great when he came on, but he's just rotating, isn't he, Kev? Like, it's still like another game 3 days later.
Exactly. It was this period around Christmas time. It's surprising how quick these games catch up on you. Plus, Ibu is coming back from an injury. He hasn't really played consistently a volume of games this season. He's got a fair amount of appearances, but he hasn't played back-to-back 90s in a good while. And Jarl Kwanzaa's there, so I'd imagine if it was Joel Matip coming in for him, there wouldn't have been a blink.
Yeah.
You're managing your squad then, but because it's Jarl Kwanzaa, it's a bit, I understand a little bit of nerves can set in, but at the same time, this is why you have a squad. is the same for Harvey Elliott. We've all said pretty much to a man this season so far, Harvey Elliott has been brilliant off the bench. But Dominic Szoboszlai has looked like he's running through treacle in the last few games. He's needed to be taken out. And the fact that he's been able to be taken out tonight and rested for, come on and just kept fresh for 20 minutes. And now he's got a 5-day break until Newcastle is ideal.
Yeah.
Endo has done really well. He's got one more game for us before he's off to the Asia Cup. Gravenberch feeling his way back in. When you hear a coach or a first team coach or a manager come out and say, well, he went down and we had to take him off because of muscle fatigue. Yeah. That's one step away from 6 weeks with a hamstring.
Yeah.
So he needs to be managed. He's not used to playing the volume of football that we play in the last 2 years. He didn't get this volume of football into his legs. He didn't get a pre-season with us. So he's building as well. Cody Gakpo, another one, in and out of the squad, still finding his role. Darwin needed to go, and Salah always starts. So I just think this squad, this side that was picked today was probably the easiest 11 you could pick on paper, because that's probably the best and only way he could have gone to keep as many players happy and fresh as possible, while making sure you have enough quality in the side to go and win the game.
Yeah.
Look at the bench as well. The bench you had game changers on the bench for the first time in a while.
Well, that's it. When you do rotate, it gives you that chance. United have scored Canacho, but it looks like it might be ruled out offside, and it has been ruled out offside. The pass from Rashford squared it to him. He rounded Martinez and scored, but it's offside. It's still 2-0 to Villa, but United opened them up fairly easy there, in fairness. Kev, it was a dominating first half. I think most of the talking points might be in the second half, but there's a couple of things come out of the first half, and you're right. But let's start with the goal, because it's a really nice move. Nunez gets cleaned over. It falls to, I think, Gakpo, who gets down the side, and Nunez is up off his feet and demanding the ball. Play it inside to him, and he passes a beautiful finish into the far corner, Kev. And you know what? He had time to think about that. And even though we had time to think about it, it was a brilliant finish. I loved it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish. I remember I text Chris during the game and said that's a cultured finish. That's not a striker who's under pressure for his place. That's not a striker who's lacking confidence.
Yeah,
that's the finish you use when you're in that spot. And it was just a lovely goal. And the fact that he didn't sit in his laurels, when he got cleaned out of it, as you said, he got straight back. There was no whistle. He got straight back up, got himself into a good position, gave Gakpo the option. 1-0. And the thing is, the first few minutes of the game, it was scattergun. It wasn't settling down. And once the first goal went in, it was like deep breath, relax. Now you can sit in and look to start to enjoy this. But yeah, he needed it. He desperately needed it just to get people off his back, to be fair. But in general, more often than not, his performances within games has been okay. Nothing outstanding in any way, shape, or form. But he's been getting himself into positions where he gets chances in games. And that's, you want him to take the chance, obviously. But I always say with strikers, the time to worry is when you're not getting chances, or when you're backing away from being in a position to take a chance.
Though. It's not a huge. You wouldn't say that.
No,
Darwin's missed another chance there. Like Kevin Balls is there. It was probably needed. Never good for a tackle to go for too long without a goal. And I agree with that. Me and Kevin Ball have had different conversations on here and away from here, and we differ on some things the way we are. But I think both of us want us the player to do really well, And I take your point as well. He's getting chances, yeah, and he's missed a couple where you think he should score, yeah. But I think the other side of his game has grown all the time. I think the fact that they're trusting him out on that left-hand side is a big tell, because left and right are massive for the way we press, the shape we take off the ball. There's loads in there when you play left or right for Liverpool. People overlook that with Salah, but the position he takes up when we don't have the ball is very good. The sort of way. And his game overall has been coming on, but the goals have drifted away. And he's still a work in progress for me. He's still young enough. He's a season and a half in now. And I'm not going to shout from the rooftops that Darwin Nunez is back. But I thought today his all-round game was good, and he gets a goal. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it added up today, but I think what you probably need to see is against Newcastle or whether it's Arsenal in the Cup or I think Fulham is in the Cup is probably our next 3 games. What you need is if you can turn around in the next 3 games and go, do you know what? Darwin got 3 and 3 there, but his overall game was brilliant. Great. Because if he scores 3 and 3 and doesn't play well overall, you're still going, yeah, he got a goal, but he's not doing anything else to help us. So I think we're trying to mould him into a better all-round player. And you will get lulls in goals, and you will get lulls in performance where you still get goals. But making them both, I think, is absolutely excellent. And today, I think it was
key.
that. Yeah. Look, we get the goal 6 minutes in. It's a beautiful finish. And it looked like Liverpool were going for the throat, Kev. Let's be honest. They were in complete control. They were very, very direct in the way they played against Burnley. I'm not talking long balls like Arsenal fans think we play a load of long balls because they're mental. We were very direct in when we get it, we're not just going to keep passing, we're going to actually go for you. And the second talking point for me of the second half, Kev, is I think there's a lack of confidence in front of goal. And I think it's shown in the United game and the Arsenal game a little bit. And today it showed because I think we rushed some stuff where we didn't need to rush. There was a couple of chances there, Kev, where you think, just delay an extra second, not even take an extra touch, just delay for a second, and you're okay. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, I think there's times in the way we were playing in the first half that. Do you remember what Arsenal used to be like, where it was always one more pass they're trying to walk it in?
Yeah.
And no one was taking responsibility. I mean, there was an attempt in the 8th minute that it was inside the penalty box. Salah got a shot off the outside of his foot, and it was a ball that was going away from Trafford, and he got a good hand to it, and it was going. It was a really good save. It was a phenomenal save, to be honest. But other than that, it just felt like we were trying to overwork it to me. It was someone needed to either take, like you said, take the extra touch, take someone on, committed player to come to you. I thought Salah drifted again in the majority of the game. Off the ball, his work has been fine, but he's not getting into positions where you want him to isolate a fullback or threaten him behind.
Is that his game anymore, though, Kev?
That was the thing. There was a point in it, I think it might have been the first half, where he got 1-on-1, the ball over the top, and he couldn't get away from the defender. So I don't think he's got the lightning pace of what he used to do, but he's generally been very good about getting his body in a position where the defender has to come through him to get at the ball. And he just couldn't get away from the defender. Whether it's the case it's 4 games in 10 days, and he's just tired. I don't know, but I think we've got to figure out a way of attacking sides that gets more out of him in different ways, because I don't think he's not going to be able to do what he used to do going forward.
Look, I'm not on this bandwagon that he's losing all his pace. I think he has brilliant pace, right? But I actually think it's more down to a change in the way he's playing. Like, right, take the Arsenal goal, right? Ball over the top by Trent. I think he shows brilliant pace to get there. Comes inside a fella and bangs it, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely fine. But I think it's the way he's playing, Kev. He's looking to get more involved in little phases of play, trying to open teams up and stuff like that. But I think, like, I'd still back Salah against most players if you put it over the top and let them chase it. I don't think you're going to go, you can't put it over the top for Salah anymore. It's just a different way of playing. And I think the fact that I go back to the nerves, the fact that I think we're a little bit off form, maybe a little nervous in front of goal is, if you have, say, Gakpo and Nunez or Jota or Diaz and they're on fire, we score goals from other areas, but I think they supply more for Salah in front of goal as well. I think there's an awful lot on his shoulders at the minute because certain players aren't in form. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you go back to when you and Chris and I was chipping in when we were doing the reviews of the 1920 season, it was amazing how many goals the front three contributed in that season. It was such a large chunk of the firepower that we've had throughout that season. and we've been so dependent on the forwards to supply the goals. Pretty much always under Klopp, and it is a lot of pressure that they're under, especially when you're going into games and you're one light. At the moment, we're two light, so they know that if you're starting a game and they're looking at the bench and you're like, yeah, okay, up until today, it has to be you three. You three have to do something, because you're not going to be getting the help from the bench that you've been accustomed to getting. So that brings its own pressure as well, especially if you've got two players there really who've been out of form, in front of goal, Darwin and Cody. Even despite Cody getting a goal in his last game and Darwin getting one today, you can safely say that both of them have been out of form in front of goal.
Yeah.
For a large part for the last few months, really.
So
So it does bring added pressure for sure.
United have scored. It will stand this time, Garnacho. And in fairness, I'm kind of watching this game as we go on, and Villa are their own worst enemy here. Like, they're literally just playing terrible balls out from the back, and then they're playing three at the back. And United are literally playing Rashford, Hoyle, and Garnacho up against the three. It's like 3-on-3. But it's a good finish. It's a good ball across from Rashford, and it's a good finish. Slots it past Martinez. So it's United 1, Villa 2, just about approaching the hour. The rest of the first half, though, Kev, we get to half time. It's 1-0.
Oh, hold your horses. 28th minute. Liverpool score, but it won't count.
Oh, yes.
Scramble in the Burnley penalty area leads to a shot from Gakpo, which well saved by Trafford in the Burnley goal. The rebound falls to Nunez, scores against the back. I thought I watched him when he was the England keeper for the Euros, when they won it. I think he's a brilliant young keeper.
Yeah, he is.
I was amazed that Man City let him go. But they didn't let him go on the cheap. They let him go for good money. Burnley paid, I think, nigh on £20 million for him.
Yeah.
And when you're watching performances like he's put in, despite their league position, you look at the performances that he's put in, and you're looking at Ray at Arsenal, thinking, mate, you're at the wrong club. But Burnley have played a blinder here because he's going to go for big money.
Big money. I think he's a top keeper.
He's the best young English keeper I've seen in a long time. And he's very good with the ball at his feet as well. Yeah. But this is the first of the disallowed goals. No, I for the life of me can't understand how this goal was disallowed. I don't know what Tierney saw.
Yeah.
But once he disallowed it, it would have been monumental for VAR to intervene, because there would have had to be absolutely zero contact whatsoever and a pure dive from the Burnley defender.
Yeah.
For VAR to turn around and tell him to go to the monitor and say, yeah, you literally just invented something in between your eyes and it went to your brain and you haven't a clue what you fucking saw, but you didn't see what you thought you saw.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was contact. However minimal it was one of those decisions that once it was given on the pitch by Paul Tierney, it was never going to be overturned.
Yeah.
But saying all of that, there is no way in God's green earth that Paul Tierney can see that and call that a foul. He just can't. That is just ridiculous. It's Paul Tierney doing Paul Tierney things.
Correct. And I think you do more Paul Tierney things later, and his mates chime in as well. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. Peter Smith was texting me after the game going, Gav, this is actually getting fucking scandalous now. Like, it's so over the top. It's so open. You can see it, what they're fucking at. And I was like, Pete, I'm sick telling you about it. I'm going on about it ages. No one wanted to listen. People are telling me I kept going on about it and this, that, and the other. But, and I keep making the point, if Liverpool had drawn that game off the back of what they done today, people like Villa fans, Arsenal fans, United, whoever, would have said, oh, well, look, you got that decision here and you got that and we didn't get this. And we all go tribalistic. And when we go tribalistic, the PGMOL just go along their merry way, right? The only way they're going to change the decision now is, this is how it works now, Kevin, football, right? A red card is given. They go, or a yellow card's given. And if If they ever get called to the screen, it's a red card. Okay? If a penalty's given and they're called to the screen, it means he's made a mistake and they'll change it. But they're never at the stage now, ever, where, listen, you've made a decision there, come on over here and have a look at it and reverse it. They're either telling them what decision to make, and as in, you're wrong, here's the decision. But these on-field stuff with the likes of that, and he calls that, they should be going, listen, let's review that, and be as strong on it with that as they would be with a yellow card, offence that may be a red. They're all over the place. They're all over the place, Kev. And we get back to them in a little bit. Go on. Yeah. Go on, I'll let you have another little.
Well, I say there was a tackle earlier in the first half as well. The Burnley player went in on, I think he went in on Gravenberch. He slid in, and it was his studs caught his boot on the ground, and Gravenberch was led on a heap. And Burnley went up on the attack, and it played out into nothing in the end.
Yeah.
I thought, that's a foul all day long, and you're getting it in. I watched a few games over the Christmas. I haven't been watching loads.
Neither have I.
But you're at the stage now where referees are letting an awful lot of tackles go.
Yeah.
And squads are to the pin of their collar up and down the league. You look at you go into any squad now and you go and look at their injury list. Every squad has 5-6 players out injured, minimum. Some more, some a lot more.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because of referees allowing silly tackles to happen in games where they don't pull up stuff earlier on because they want to let the game flow. They think that's what the fans want. And I'm sure some fans do. But at the same time, when bad tackles go away...
It's not about what the fans want. By the way, people are asking what's going on with sort of sound issue. There's no issue here, but I will tell you, it's howling out here now. The rain is lashing.
Oh, you can hear, it's lashing up there. I think.
You can hear it lashing off to the front of Florence Cinema Pongol's Pergola. But we're gonna keep going. I don't give a fuck. I have cans and smokes. So fuck yous. But Kev, where were we? Go on. What were you saying there? Because I was going to cut across.
I think they're just letting a lot of stuff go in the interest of letting games flow, instead of calling the fouls that are in front of them.
Yeah.
And that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to
I knew what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You're saying, you use the words there, that's what you think the paying customer or the fan wants to hear or see. It's not about what we want to see. It's about doing what you're meant to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, put it this way. If I'm an Arsenal fan at the weekend and they go to VAR and check Odegaard and they give a penalty, as an Arsenal fan, that's not what I want to see, but that's what happens. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not about what we want to see. It's just, this is the protocol. Follow it and do it every single time. We're going to get into something later where I think it's the right decision, personally, but I've seen decisions
I did at the time
that's different earlier on the season.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Darren McGallagher that earlier on when Klopp said in his post-match after the Arsenal that Mr. Dermot will find a way to say that wasn't handball.
Yeah.
But Mr. Dermot didn't. And he said, no, that was handball, and they cocked up. And it's kind of like they almost go through verbal gymnastics to justify a bad decision. When I had Arsenal fans texting me after the game saying, we got away with one there. But would it have changed the game? I don't know. It might have. It might have. The thing is, Martinelli missed a golden chance. Trent missed a golden chance. The Arsenal game, you had both defences dominated the game, and the forwards on both sides didn't really get much in.
Yeah.
And when you have two good sides going at each other, that's generally how the game turns out.
Yeah.
But in a game like today, when you dominate the ball, you're going to attract more fouls, so you're going to get more free kicks. And that one there, I don't understand what he saw there to disallow that goal, because it was merited 2-0 at the time because we were totally dominant in it. Burnley couldn't do anything. Burnley were stopped between what should they press? Should they stand off? Half of them went, half of them didn't, and they were caught in no man's land, and we just were going through them. And my only fear at that point was players would think that this is too easy,
Yeah.
and we'd make a silly mistake. That was my only fear.
Yeah. But look, we get on because there's a few more contentious issues later, right? And I need you to remember them for me, to be honest with you. But
You better hurry up because I'm going through as fast as you.
You're going through what, this drink as fast as me? No, well, listen,
Yeah.
we're probably going to end up doing 40 minutes and then we're out of here. Fair play to us are turning up on Stevens' day as far as I'm concerned. Even though the likes of Sass Copite and stuff are giving out about the sound, even though the sound levels are absolute perfection here. But second half, and I'm going into it and I'm thinking to myself, we're 1-0 up. We should be more. Burnley, I'm not saying Burnley have been terrible. I just think we've been dominant. I think we've managed the game extremely well. I think we've attacked quite well. I think a couple of chances, if we take that, not even an extra touch, just an extra half second to compose ourselves, we're probably 2 or 3-0 up going in at half time. So there's always a bit of danger going into the second half. But it's more of the same, isn't it? I think it's more of the same until basically Elliott's goal gets disallowed, and then I think Liverpool should have a penalty, and then it just goes from there. But we're still managing the game quite well up until these bits we'll talk about, Kev.
Well, the Elliott disallowed goal was on 55, and I think both sides came out at the start of the second half, and Burnley knew they had to have a goal.
Yeah,
and we just couldn't get to grips with the game the way we had it in the first half. We just couldn't get along with it. But that period of possession that we had leading up to that goal, I can't remember how long we had the ball, but it felt like we had the ball for a while.
Yeah.
And it says here, midfield sprays it out to the right for Gravenberch before continuing. He continued his run, getting into the end of a cross to tuck it home, but celebrations were cut short with Salah deemed to be in an offside position, unsighting the keeper during the shot.
Yeah.
Now, I saw the replay from behind the goal, and Mo Salah 100% impedes the goalkeeper's vision. He is in an offside position.
Yep.
Disallowed for offside. I'm like, fair enough. Okay, no problem. Then about 2 minutes later, someone posted a video of Salah getting pushed into an offside position, and you're like, hang on. He was doing his best to stay onside, and he was onside before the push. And it's like, what the fuck? How did VAR not see him being pushed in the box?
Yeah.
It's like, were you not even looking for it? Or were you just looking to see the end result as a way of justifying disallowing what should have been a good goal? I don't get it.
Right.
It was the right decision without the push. Salah was offside. He did impede the goalkeeper. If that's all you're seeing, then it's the right decision. It's offside.
Yeah.
But if you're seeing Salah being pushed into an offside position, what the fuck?
Right. My take on it. He is pushed into an offside position. Okay. United have equalised, by the way. Garnacho scored again. Deflection off. Who was it off? Just give me 1 second. I think it's Diego Carlos. But he is pushed into that position, right? Now, if you're not going to make a decision on the fact that he's pushed, like, are we looking for a penalty for him being pushed?
No.
No. So, he's in line. I actually think it's the right decision. Okay? But I'm going to bring you back to a goal by, I think it's Man City earlier this season, where Ake dummies a ball that's going into the corner past the keeper, and it's given as a goal. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, in my opinion, it is a good decision, but it's not consistent with the decisions made all seasons with regards to these players being in front of the goalkeeper. Do you get me? Like,
yeah.
If that goal was given, okay, if that goal was given, and the referee turned around and said, "Listen, Salah was offside because your player pushed him into that position. Now that's your own bleeding fault." I'd say that's grand. But that's not how they're working. They don't care what's happened, and if they aren't going to, make a decision where, look, he's pushed, so we're not claiming it, or we're not using that as the rule, then it's the right decision. But again, they're not consistent, Kev. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's, again, we're sitting here and we're discussing about one decision they make in one game and one decision they make in the other. And I know you get different things happening for different teams, or different scenarios, but these are very similar scenarios. A player is in the line of the keeper. If he's pushed in there, or he's standing there, or he dummies it, or he jumps over it, or he tries to kick it and he misses it and it goes in, they should all be the same. Always the same. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I didn't have a problem with it being disallowed when I saw Mo's positioning. My only gripe was how Mo ended up there.
Yeah.
And it's a nonsense really, but it started to get into the levels. It started to get into the frustrating part of the game then, because it's still 1-0. We've had one okay, fair enough, but one perfectly good goal in my opinion disallowed.
Yeah.
And you're still at 1-0, and it just felt like banana skin time, because you always see it over the Christmas, Boxing Day, New Year's Day fixtures. Someone comes a cropper somewhere, and you just pray to God that it's not you. And these are the type of games against sides who are scrapping to stay in the league and scrapping for every point going.
Yeah.
That you can easily be looked to be made a fool of if you don't put the game don't put the game to bed. And the longer it goes on, I think the more into ourselves we became. I still think we managed it okay in general, but
But in the back of your head, you have to be thinking, fuck, we're an hour in here and we're only 1-0 up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anything could happen here, but it's up to Liverpool to go and then, win the game. Make sure they win the game.
Yeah, I mean, the changes came, and you hoped that the changes would have an effect. And they did eventually, because I think we settled the game back down a bit. Burnley had a spell of possession, probably for about 3 or 4 minutes, where they pinned us in a bit. But other than that, I don't think they did enough or did too much in the game. But they didn't do nothing really for Alisson. Alisson was just like, he could have had double.
I think it was Kevin Ball said it. I think Kevin Ball said it there earlier. He said, look, we might have been a bit lucky with 2 headers they have, even though, Alisson wasn't really tested. Is there any other instance you'd like to speak about?
There's nothing really. I mean, the thing is, the game peters out until Diogo Jota comes on.
Yeah.
Not an awful lot happens.
So how good was it to see him back?
Oh, fucking great. I mean, he's a brilliant option to have, because he gives you that poacher in the box. We all know that he's a finisher, but he gives you the ability that he can play wide, he can play central, he can drop in, he can do it all. He knows his game inside out, and he's confident with it. So to have him back as an option to take the pressure off the others is the most important thing. Is huge, especially with Mo heading off. Having Diogo back is vital. And the thing is, you expect to see him drip back in. Don't expect to see him starting against Newcastle and throwing in 90 against Newcastle and 90 against Arsenal. I think they'll blood him back in, but 50 goals for the club, and it just finished off the performance in the end. Finished the game halfway through the season, top of the league, and happy as Larry with it, really. You got to be happy with it in the end, because this is just, I'm just delighted with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was some finish as well.
I'm gonna go onto this call in a minute. Jason Surrendran says, sounds like a hurricane over there. Riders on the storm about to start playing from Gav's house. It's absolutely hammering down here. And this Perspex roof, you'll hear everything from it. But I'm dry, I'm warm. I'm watching United, I'm talking to Kev, having cans. And
Yeah.
because I'm in the cinema, Pongo, Pagola, I can have a smoke as well. So, yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So no panic. I apologise. I do apologise if the noise is mental, but that's just the way it is tonight. It's the only way we could get a
Mother
show out.
Nature has had her say.
Yeah, well, yeah, Mother Nature is having her say a little bit, and there's some wind and rain warnings have come for our area from tonight till tomorrow night, I think.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
one
we've
of
got
those.
them from. We've got the
Can I-
rain. I've got my young fellas
you
out
get it
on
worse than
meeting
anyone
his
though, Kev.
girlfriend tonight, so we get it because I'm stuck in this up literally up the side of a mountain. So it's like if it comes in off the coast, we get absolutely battered up here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, touch wood, we've been all right. But I expect the wind to kick in now later on tonight, and
Yeah, and I wouldn't
another
mind. I
day.
was out earlier and I said to myself, Jace, this is one of the nicer nights out. It's kind of calm, it's not raining, it's not too cold. And now it's just bleeding monsoon weather. But anyway, I want to talk about a couple of players. Can we talk about, and I do it every time he plays at this stage, but Jarell Quansah. Like, Kev, I'm not being funny. He will, at some stage, he's going to make mistakes where you go, he's a 19-year-old defender, or, you know, bit of inexperience there, or an experienced forward kind of done him there. But genuinely, Kev, I'm watching this fella at centre half, and I just look at him as a Liverpool centre half, not a young Liverpool centre half who'd be impressed into using because of injuries. I think he's unbelievable.
I think he's ridiculous. I mean, look, there's a couple of really good young centre backs in the Premier League at the minute. Everton have one. We have one. I think the young kid that played for Manchester United the other day, he looked all right.
At West Ham, yeah.
Yeah, he looked all right.
I had to ask a
a
United fan about him, and he just said, yeah, from the youth team, he's really good, but I feel sorry for him coming into this year. That's what I was told.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we know the same guy. But at the same time, Jarell Quansah coming into a side that is pretty well balanced, you know, and the fact that Klopp has been able to drip him in and out throughout the start of the first half of the season, it's probably set him up well to be in the position where he is now. That he was named in the starting lineup today, and I don't think too many people batted an eyelid. They were like, "Oh, Jarell started. Oh, okay. Look forward to watching him." You know, and not, oh my God, panic stations. It's Burnley. It's away from home. They'll get at him, and they tried. You know, Virgil. Nothing came down Virgil's side. Everything came down his Quansah side, and it was the fact that it's normally the side that Trent vacates, but he didn't vacate it today. Trent really played the first half as almost like a third centre back in a lot of ways, and in the second half he played an orthodox right back role. But I thought Quansah did really well in the main. He gave away one or two silly passes, but in general, the stats is 95 out of 109 passes, so there was no problem going through him and around. 87% pass success rate. He's won 9 duels, lost 3. You know, won 9 out of 11 aerial duels. And he just looks like someone who it's going to be frightening how good this kid could be at 24.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's how I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at if you're this confident and you're playing this well at 20.
3-2. Ooh. That fella that doesn't score any goals scored. What's his name?
Martial.
No, the other fella, Hoyland.
Hoyland? Mm-hmm. That's his first goal.
I think it's his first
That's his first goal in the Premier League. That's his first league goal for the club.
Yeah. Claire says...
He might be playing for the manager, God bless him.
Yeah. Claire says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Why is Gav in his shed? I'm not in his shed. This is Florin Cinema Pongol's Pagola. I'll give you a tour of it one day. I'll show it to you. I'll whip the camera around and show it to you. Anyway, 3-2 to United. We're 2-0 down at half time. But yeah, they've been good value for a second half. Villa have just played themselves into all sorts of trouble. But Quansah, excellent. Joe Gomez again, really solid.
I love Joe. I fucking love Joe. I love the flexibility that he gives you. It was frustrating watching him making the overlaps in the first half, and Gakpo didn't use him. I was just praying for him. Use him once, and the fullback is stuck then because he doesn't know what to do, and he never did. And by the last time that Joe made an overlap, the fullback followed Gakpo straight away, and Gakpo ended up losing the ball. He's a willing runner. He'll try his heart out. He's decent, good defender, and the fact that he's as versatile as he is brilliant. Look, this is probably the first spell that Joe Gomez has had in the squad for a while that he's been consistently available. He hasn't picked. Because you look at the injuries that Joe Gomez have had. Yeah, but you look at the injuries that he's had over his career, they've generally been major, big, long-term injuries. He doesn't seem to be the type of player who picks up niggly ones. So the fact now that he's available and he's getting a lot of games, as you said, he's coming off the bench. He was coming off the bench a lot in games. He was playing a lot of the cup games, but he's showing his flexibility now as well. And yeah, look, I was delighted for him today. But I still think that Cody Gakpo could have used him a lot more in the when he was making those overlapping runs. And he's definitely going to score this season. 100%.
Well, Sas Coppoy says there, he says he's going to, and I shouldn't really put up Sas Coppoy's comments because he's been a bit of a wanker this evening. But he says he's definitely scoring this season. It's coming. And someone else says that they've watched. He's been watching John Barnes DVDs. So yeah,
I reckon he's playing. I think he's playing EA 24, and I think he's Pat Cafu, and he's just channeling his inner Cafu now.
But the thing about it is, Kev, if he's solid there and he's starting to be even a little bit adventurous as a fullback, and that's great. Don't get me wrong, that's great. I like my fullbacks to be able to defend to a certain extent. I like my fullbacks to be able to get forward and create and be an extra man going forward. And he's trying his best to do that. But the big thing for me is Joe Gomez is playing games of football every 3 days.
Yeah.
All right? Now, he comes on as sub.
It's massive for us.
He comes on as sub and plays a big portion of the game there against Arsenal. And he plays there today. And this now renews the fact that Joe Gomez, if he's fit, strong, available, he is a centre-half option. He is a centre-half option. And I loved it from him again today. Done nothing wrong. Tried to get forward. A lot of his runs were ignored at times, but that gives space. Because as much as we talk about Joe Gomez at left back, right? When he's at left back, you think he comes inside all the time. But the bigger thing for me is he stays at left back, Kev. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's
look a lot more solid down that side, especially. Yeah.
Yeah. Triggers reckons I look like Noel Gallagher. Fuck off, annoy me. Fuck off, Trigger. No hate speech, says Sask. Trigger says no hate at all. We know that. We're only buzzing. But the other man I want to speak about, Diogo Jota. Okay form this season, but I think when he's not there, you see what you miss. And I think maybe not so much against Arsenal, but definitely against Manchester United. I think Jota would find himself in some better positions than others and will probably get you a goal. But he comes on today, makes a good run with it, finds Diaz. I was delighted Diaz got a little assist as well. Sells the defender. And you might have a little go at this goalkeeper we were saying was really good all day. But I don't care. He puts it in the far corner. Liverpool are 2-0 up on 91 minutes. And Diogo Jota's back now for a run that will see us play Newcastle. It will see us play Arsenal in the Cup. And then it will see us play Fulham in the League Cup. So he's back in a nice time when he can get a little run going here. And then he'll get a little break. So it's probably good for his rehabilitation.
It was telling in Klopp's post-match press conference that we sneaked him onto the bench because the physio said, yeah, you can use the last 10 minutes of this game as the last bit of his rehabilitation, and he can start. He hasn't trained fully with the first team squad yet.
Yeah, he was back running in the middle of last week, wasn't
he? Yeah, but Klopp said he can start training with the rest of the squad as of tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but this is a huge run of games coming up when you don't have Salah, and we're going to be missing Endo as well. So there's going to be some holes to fill, and Jota is just such a useful forward that gives you so many options.
Yeah.
I think he's really important. When you look at the front five that we have, they all offer different things. But I think Diogo Jota is probably a package of all of them. He can head, he can finish, he can build up, he can play as a winger that takes people on one-on-one. You trust him with the ball, and he's always going to occupy defenders and give them a questions to answer. He's a brilliant forward. And the fact that, I mean, how much would he cost in today's market? I mean, he's only been at the club what seems 5 minutes, but when you look at how much he gives you as a forward, and you look at some of the silly money that's going around for transfers these days, I think
we paid
he was a
for
snip.
For Jota a 40-ish million.
I think 37 million with it would have got up to 42 with add-ons or something like that.
But the only thing that holds, I think the only thing that people can hold against Jota is probably the injury record. And even in saying that, I don't think it's an injury record where you say, you know what, he always has a niggle, he's always out. It always seems to be a bad injury he gets. You know what I mean? And people going,
it's
he's
usually a
injured
hamstring.
again. But like, he does himself against, I think, United last season. Innocuous enough, but he just tears a hamstring or a groin or whatever it was. And that can happen to players. But a fit Jota, and you're telling me he can play 30 plus league games a season, he's worth 60 or 70 million quid. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? He's just that good.
Brilliant.
Garmax says, Jays have just turned on the telly and shares a mad looking board. Keep that, will you? We'll do that on some. I'm going to try get some 30-minute shows in this week, but like I said, look, it's Christmas. The kids are off. We're trying to have a break, but we're trying to get as many shows as we can. But once we turn the 1st of January, loads of your members' shows will be back. Loads of your normal feed shows will be back. And look, if you want to become, we're up to 100 members now. I think we are. So we're going to do a draw in the new year there as well for something. But become a member. It's $3.99 a month. It costs you €1 a week. You're probably getting 5 shows a week for that. And the crack is brilliant on the members stuff.
Great, that.
But Kev, look, Villa look like they're about to lose here. Arsenal play West Ham tomorrow. We've a big game. Like the next, this is what I want to get to. 9 minutes injury time at Old Trafford, by the way. But by the time we play our next game of football, Kev, the transfer window will be open. Okay?
Yeah.
So, like, I've seen stuff about Ignacio. I've seen stuff about him.
Yeah,
I've seen stuff about Mbappe. I've seen stuff about Andre. There's a couple of names starting to float now. Klopp did say that injury has come in the form of Kostas Tsimikas. Do you see us signing anyone, Kevin? Just listen, it's an early prediction. Do you see us signing anything? Or anyone, sorry.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think this January, I think, is going to be a buyer's market. There's a lot of top clubs around Europe that are in the same position as Arsenal, that are in the same position as Chelsea, and a couple of other clubs where they have to sell before they can buy to satisfy FFP. And we're not lucky, we're just really well run that we're in a position where we don't necessarily have to worry about FFP. We've sold well, we've bought smartly, and we're in a really good spot. So I think this window is definitely one where Joel Matip probably won't get registered because we're right on the limit for players that we were allowed to register.
Yeah, Kev reckons. Sorry, just before you do, Kev reckons, or not Kev, Chris reckons we should bring in 2, and we should unregister Matip and Adrian. That's where he is, wasn't
it? I wouldn't have a problem on registering Adrian either. if you're going into the second half of the season, you'd have to be sure him or not for the
Yeah.
second half of the season.
Yeah.
I know that you've always said that no matter what happens, registered or unregistered, FSG are going to have to pay these guys.
Yep.
But we're sat here at the minute on 42 points into the Europa League last 16, into a League Cup semi-final, and potentially into the FA Cup as well. You can't go into those period of fixtures into the second half of the season with 5 defenders at your club. It's not fair on those 5, and it's not fair on the kids you expect to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
Because I think you can do more harm than good.
We will have Robertson back soon enough, right? But you're looking at centre half wise Gomez.
Costas won't be back.
No. So you're looking at Gomez, Quansah, Van Dijk, and Konate. Left back you're looking at Robertson. Right back you're looking at Trent, and Gomez could probably play either side with them. You're probably one short. Okay?
Yeah.
You have a centre back that is out of contract in summer. We won't play again for Liverpool this season. So maybe you just have to say, right, we are paying him a load of money, but we need to make plans and we need to secure what we're doing now, but we need to make plans going into next season. So maybe we need to bring something forward. Having said that, it's hard to bring something forward if your target is a top player and someone doesn't want to sell them. So that's the pros and cons of it, right?
Well, the talk around Gonzalo Inacio is that he does have a buyout clause.
60 million
60 million euro.
Euros,
no, 60 million euro.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you go on transfermarket.com, they have set his value at 30 million euro.
Right.
There is no way in hell that we're making a jump to pay a buyout
from 30
clause
to 60.
From 30 to 60, no.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's a player that we were looking to pin in to sign next summer, then you'd think a deal could be done. And whether the player has to force that deal is another question. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But I'd be more comfortable signing a centre-back, a left-sided centre-back who could fill in at right back, but at the same time, could fill in at left back. The only other left back there's 2 that I'd look to try to get, because the thing is, if you've got Robertson and you've got Costas, both with shoulder problems, because I don't think, even if Costas is he's broken his collarbone, there's no way, that might cause him problems down the line. I'd be looking at Eight Nuri at Wolves, or Robinson at Fulham.
Okay.
As potential options to bring in.
Right.
And you go with the 4 centre-back options that you have at the club.
My thing in the January would be, a perfect January for me would be a defender. More than likely left-sided. But people will argue then, and Klopp would argue, well, look, if I sign another left-sider, and for argument's sake, Robertson comes back and Simicals comes back to fitness, what are we doing? Quansah to me looks a centre half, like he can play either side. Konate likes to play right, Virgil likes to play left, Gomez likes to play right or left. So I could see the club making an argument of not signing the defender, but if it was me, I would be signing him. I'd be signing him with the eye of he's Joe Matip's replacement, whether he's going to play every week or he's going to fight with Konate and Quansah to be in the team, right? And that's what you want. I don't care how good they are. I want to know they're fighting to be in the team. So I don't care if they're a 20 million centre half or a 70 million centre half. That's where I am on that.
Yeah.
Midfield wise, I don't see Thiago playing for Liverpool again. If he does, it'll be like, a farewell tour for 10, 12 games. And I would go and sign Andre. 100%. I go to him and just go, listen, we want you in our team. Endo's being magnificent. Don't get me wrong. But and McAllister's being good there, but I think the flexibility of you signed an Andre to say, right, we can go in there with a 2 if we wanted to, right? Or we can go in with him, with McAllister move forward, or he mightn't play, but we'll have him on the bench and McAllister can play deep. It's just the continuity within the team. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm not looking to pigeonhole Andre into position. I'm not looking to pigeonhole anyone. All I'm saying is, you basically take your Thiago spot and you fill it now. That's the way I look at it.
Well, the other player that I saw loosely linked with Liverpool, and I just dismissed it out of hand, really, was Joshua Kimmich, Bayern.
Right.
And whether there's any legs in that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what his contract situation is at Bayern at the minute, whether we're being linked with him as a way of him getting a big contract at Bayern. But and there's two players at Bayern that are coming available. He's one. The other one is Davies. Alphonso Davies is available in the summer. And I'd like to think that we would be in that conversation when those players are available in the transfer market. Whether we go for them or not, I don't know. You know, I'd love to see us in for Joshua Kimmich. I really fucking would.
I know, but you see, Joshua Kimmich,
like
you see, the thing with Joshua Kimmich is Joshua Kimmich comes up and wants to play every game. And I've no problem with Joshua Kimmich wanting to play every game, but that's not really how we work. And I know he's a kind of a specialist in there, goes in, he plays that deep, plays in a 1, can play in a 2. I'm not against it. I don't see Liverpool doing it. I think if they brought in an Andre, I think they're looking more to the future. I think he's more years in him, obviously. But I think, you know, the makeup of our midfield, like if everyone's fit tomorrow, I think McAllister starts over Endo. Do you know what I mean? In that position.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a hard one.
Kimmich has a contract that expires in 2025.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as if it would cost the earth to get him out of there.
Yeah.
And a player of his quality, if they become available,
you
have to be in the conversation.
Oh, I'm not saying not be in the conversation.
You know,
but you see, the thing is,
love
Kev,
a player like
if we aren't in the conversation, people will say, "Why aren't we in this fucking conversation?" Because Klopp probably doesn't feel like he wants to be in that conversation. He probably wants to have a conversation with someone else, you know, and that's what it leads to.
Yeah.
It leads to people going mad over every player that's anyway linked with Liverpool, and they end up going somewhere else. You know how it works.
Hey,
you know how it works.
The silly season is about to get started now in a couple of weeks. Not even a couple of weeks, a couple of days.
Yeah, in a massive way. United have beaten Villa 3-2. Emery looks absolutely
That's a huge result.
Fuming. But he continued to ask his team to play in a certain way when they were being opened up time after time.
But you know what? That's a learning process for Villa. Villa aren't used to being in this position where they're challenging to go joint top of the Premier League at the halfway stage.
Yeah.
And Villa are still a work in progress. And Emery has done a really, really good job.
But I still think
that's a huge result for Manchester United.
45 minutes gone.
Yeah,
you know, they should hold out. They should hold out and do that. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. I did say we do 40 to 45. We've done 58. And fair enough. It was a good show. We had a big chat about the Burnley game. With some chat around the transfer stuff. Rest of the week, we'll be on when we can. We're trying our best to take a break. I think that's fair, though. We'll definitely be back for the Newcastle game. We'll try to get a couple of shows in between now and the end of the week if we come up with any ideas and we want to just jump on. But like I said, all the lads work very, very hard on this podcast and they're entitled to a break. So if we're going to get one, great. But once it comes to Newcastle, 1st of January, we'll be back on the bike and we'll be giving you 7, 8, whatever it is a week with regards to shows. Rory says, I'm late to this, lads. He says, happy Christmas. Great win today. Yeah, absolutely. And that could see Villa spill a few points now over the next few weeks. Could do. Anything else before we go, Kev?
No, look, this has been a really good Christmas period when you look at it. You know, we're into a league cup semi-final. We're top of the league, and you know we're still a work in progress. You know, this is the start of a rebuild season. If this is the start, remember when Klopp had his first rebuild?
Yeah,
we were coming from 8th and we were struggling to get into 4th. You know, this is his second attempt at a rebuild, and we're going to be fighting for a title.
Yeah,
you know, you take that all day long, man.
Absolutely. Red Steve says, Jesus, Gav, you had yesterday off. Yeah, I did. Hit the look.
You have a good day. You have a good day.
I did. I had a great day. I did.
Yeah?
We got up with the kids. They had all their presents and stuff like that.
I mean, you got a young fella there. So you got a young one there. So that
well,
makes
I've an 11-year-old girl, and
Yeah.
her stuff is getting more expensive but smaller. His
Yeah.
is getting, you get away with a bit more, but the stuff he asked for this year, like he asked for a Jeep he could drive, and he got one, and it's chaos. He's like, you can plug a USB into it and
What's
pay a
your
Spotify
electricity
charge.
meter? Just do that now for the next
Listen,
month.
everything's on bleeding charge, Kev. Everything. But no, we had a lovely day. Let the kids relax for a couple of hours. Went down to my ma's, had me dinner. Came back here then, had the in-laws over. There's about 15 of us here last night.
Oh
But
my days.
you know, they all have young kids, so it wasn't too mad. It was about 12 o'clock last night. They all kind of legged. And yeah, today was real relaxing. Didn't move. Just chilled, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep as relaxing as we can. But yeah. Well, did you have a good time?
I did, yeah. It was lovely to have the kids in the house. You know, one daughter lives in Limerick, another one at college in Thurles. So it's like, it's nice when they're all home and you can just like close the curtains, lock the door, lock the world out,
Yeah,
and relax for a couple of days. You
yeah,
know, and that's it. They're all back to work tomorrow. Mrs. is back to work tomorrow. The two younger ones are back to work tomorrow. The young fella's out meeting his girlfriend tonight. They've gone out for a drink, so God knows what time we're going to get a phone call to go and get them. So, all in
yeah,
all, absolutely fantastic Christmas. Loved it.
yeah.
All ready to go now for the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I hope everyone's had a nice Christmas. I hope you have a nice period now, right up to New Year. But as I said, we'll bring it as much as we can between now and the New Year. But once the New Year comes, you'll be lashed as usual. 7, 8, 9, 10 shows a week. And if you're not a member, consider doing it. It's good crack. The shows in the morning are worth it alone because it's just mayhem. And like that, we started a new series called The Helm with Keith. That was a Liverpool one. Done last week, and there's more of them coming. I know we're covering Everton, we're covering Newcastle, I think we're covering Spurs, Arsenal. There's a good few there we're covering, so that's good. And we'll have some other stuff coming up on the members feed as well. So it helps us, it supports us, and you know what, it's good crack as well. So if you're not a member, consider doing it. For everyone out there, hope you had a great Christmas, and yeah, we'll talk to them soon, Kev, won't we?
Yep, absolutely.
Good stuff.
Keep an eye on. Just make sure you hit the bell icon, because the thing is, at this time of year, you never know when a show is going to go live. It's just going to be a case of when people are available. So make sure you
Yeah,
hit the bell icon, and you'll know when we go live. Keep an eye on the
exactly.
social media feeds as well, and we'll always let you know.
Exactly. Right. Well, I'm off to try get all my recycling out onto the street for the bin man coming tomorrow. This should be fun. There's boxes and shit everywhere. It's absolutely fucking lashing out. It's blowing a gale. This is gonna be mayhem. That has been what I don't know what it's been. It's been the Talkin Kop. I don't know what day of the week it is, but Liverpool have beaten Burnley. They're top of the league. Villa have been beaten by Man United. Arsenal play tomorrow. And yeah, have a good one. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.